What's going on, guys? Finally, after months of just putting it off, just because I was afraid I wasn't gonna do it perfect, or just waiting to the perfect moment, or just waiting till I had the perfect blast of inspiration. I finally decided to just put myself in front of the computer, in front of the mic, in front of the camera, and start the Fill Your Life with Ferenc podcast. I'm your host, Ferenc, of course. Guys, basically, the reason we're starting this podcast is just 2019 and 2020, I have seen in my own personal life a transformation that I've been looking for since day one. I'm 26 today, and for 25 years, it felt like I was just doing the same exact thing. Like I wasn't making progress. I didn't really see too much significant change in myself. And finally, I got to the point where I did a 180 where I was going in life. But don't get me wrong, part of my story is that I had to make some serious mistakes in the past with how I spoke, how I thought, how I treated my body, how I treated others, how I had my perception of what was fun, what was stupid, what was bad. And you know what, guys? In my darkest moments, I guess, I really figured out the best thing that could have possibly have ever happened to me. We're gonna get through that at some point in this podcast. But today I just really want to just stress how long I had set up the camera, how many times I had put up the microphone, how many times I'd gotten the computer set up in front of me and didn't record anything because for one specific reason, I needed it to be perfect before I started. And you know what? That perfectionist kind of mentality is it's the probably the number one reason other than straight up procrastination that results in people, including myself, and if anything, I can't even bring anybody else into in their life into this. This is about me. This is the number one thing that is stopping me, that had been stopping me for quite a few months now, from just recording this podcast, putting it on YouTube, and just finally getting my podcast series started. Because I'm sure I'm not the only person who feels like if I'm going to do it, I want it to be perfect. And then I got to wait for the perfect time, and I got to wait for the perfect situation. And I got to wait for the perfect thing to let him in and the perfect thing to talk about. When at the end of the day, momentum is what gets things done. Momentum is what's going to get me to keep going, what's going to get me to keep doing the podcast. And I've heard it said from a very wise man. You guys might know him, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, maybe, probably. If not, look into him, Jordan Peterson. And in a lot of his lectures, he talks about you must be willing to be a fool before you can be a master. In a nutshell, you have to be willing to do, not you, I'm telling them myself this, but I'm just using us, you, as in a broader subject. I need to tell myself this. Part of this podcast is also just a kind of a video journal for myself. Me personally, need to be willing to just do something badly if I ever want to make progress to the point where I can do something at a higher level. And you know what? That's honestly hard for me to do because I don't like I don't like criticism. Even if it's constructive criticism, a part of me knows that that's the case, that this is constructive criticism, this is what's going to make me better. But also a part of me just sees criticism as criticism and like, oh, and this immediately the first reaction is, what does this person know? This person doesn't know anything. Like, what do they know about podcasts? What do they know about content creation? And you know, it's kind of balancing those two parts, that ego and also how badly do I want to move forward in my projects, particularly this podcast. And the power of just behind that, you need to be willing to do something badly at first if you're gonna expect to become a master. Nobody just becomes a master from the get-go. Even with natural born talent, it takes time. I can't just go out there and just play tennis. Even though I run 5Ks, I work out every single day, just because I can do those things doesn't mean I am going to have the natural talent to even for beat someone in tennis that's been playing just for just a year. And even if I might be faster and stronger than them, whatever, the technique, I don't have it. And you know what? It's really hard, and it's humbling just to get out in anything in general. It's not just a podcast. It's not out there playing tennis. It doesn't matter if I'm whatever I'm doing, if I'm sitting here, if I'm writing. I'm work also one of my dreams is to write my first book. And guess what? The first book is not going to be nearly as good as the fifth book. Even if I wrote the first book great, it's not going to be at the level that my fifth book is. There's always room to improve in life. And this point I'm just trying to stress for myself and also for anybody that's watching and listening today. Of course, guys, thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe to the channel. That helps so much. But I really want to take this farther. And believe it or not, guys, the likes and subscribes, it keeps me going. It keeps me motivated. And I just really want to ask for your support genuinely. And I want to also thank you for that support. But one of the things I really need to keep in mind for myself is that I just looking at just this entire podcast project, I've been putting it off. This whole month I've been putting it off until today, just because I decided, you know what, it doesn't matter what it's going to come out like. Just sit down and do it. My first podcast is not going to be nearly at the level of my fifth podcast. And whether that's just going to be the difference of the sound is better, or I might have a little bit more material here in front of me to talk about, or my message is a little bit clearer. The whole point is that I wasted 3 months at least, like I said, checking the camera angle. Which camera angle do I like? You know what? I guarantee you when I review this today, I might have some camera angle to change. Even though I looked at it 5 times, I might want to change the levels on the microphone. I want to might change. Maybe I'll look at this shirt. I'm like, what the hell is I wearing? Thinking about wearing just a t-shirt when I'm doing this. Why didn't I wear like a dress shirt or try to, maybe the lighting's off. I don't know. But the whole point is that I need to be humble enough to know that, you know what, it's not going to be perfect the first time around. Sit down and do it, because podcasting and public speaking and writing books and motivating people, it really is my dream. And I've been pulling that dream from the hard times I've been having in 2019 that really turned around into a massive breakthrough in 2020. And I can't thank my higher power enough for turning this around, because you know what? Honestly, for 25 years, I never really knew what I wanted to do. Sure, I said, yeah, I wanted to be a CEO. I wanted to be a banker. I wanted to be an investment banker. I want to do all these different things. But at the end of the day, that was just because what looked sexy to me. That's what looked cool. But you know what? I've been in banking, and and I really look at who I am as a person, and whether or not you're a CEO, whatever, but those people, they spend so much time involved in work. They spend so much time absorbed in it, going to meetings. And you know what? After I took a good look at myself and asked myself, what kind of life do I want to live? I'll tell you right now, I like to wake up in the morning, whatever time. Sometimes I like to wake up in the afternoon too. Wake up whatever time I want. If I feel like having a breakfast, I'm going to make myself a really nice breakfast at my own pace. Sometimes I like to go out for a run in the morning. Then I come home, do a few things. And at night, I like to cook myself a good dinner. So basically, a CEO schedule really, really wouldn't work for me, you know? And when I finally asked myself, what do I want, and what kind of life do I want to have? Not what do I want to have in my life, but what kind of life do I want to have? The answer is a laid back but prosperous. And you know what? It just, when I finally just switched up such a simple question of what kind of life do I want, or versus what do I want to have in my life, that changed my perspective entirely of what I wanted for my life, you know? Like I said, I like to fish, I like to hunt, I like to take time with those kinds of things. And I don't want to have to be at a meeting 5 times a week. I don't want to have to be working 15 hours a week or 15 hours a day. And I have a lot of respect for those people that work those crazy hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours a day. And, God bless them. But for me, that's just, without, honestly, it wouldn't make me happy. Sure, I would have a lot of nice things, but at the end of the day, what's the point of, having enough money to have this big, giant, like, beautiful fishing boat if I can only go fishing maybe, I don't know, a few times in the season, That might end up being 2 or 3 times a month. I like to go out, fish all day, maybe even sleep on the lake. But you know what, guys? We're going to get into that as the podcast unfolds. Thank you so much for sticking with me for a few weeks. I hope somewhere in this message today you heard something that, gets you thinking about yourself, It really, honestly, I can't wait to go forward with this, and I'm just so glad that just the desire just to take a break and just we're going on 12 minutes right now. I really just want to stop there. Guys, a lot more content. My goal is to be on at least one podcast a week, but please like and subscribe to the channel, guys. I really want to take this to the next level, and I really, really think that, there's a lot of great content out there, but I really think we need more of a community to support each other, as well as to constantly grow and to constantly be asking ourselves about our dreams, and constantly be seeing what we're actually working toward and thinking about, what am I putting off? What should I be doing? What could I be doing? Because I tell you what, guys, like I said, I've been putting off this podcast just because I was scared of not doing it perfectly the first time. And, it really is a detriment to our dreams not being willing to do something bad and take some of the negative criticism, also hear some of the positive criticism. It really all depends on our attitude. And guys, I hope I'm setting an example I'm sure there's a lot of of feedback you guys could have to help me make this better. Maybe the lighting, whatever, I don't know. Anything you guys want to put down in the comments, please do. Guys, this was the Fill Your Life with Ferenc podcast, episode number 1. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I want to wish you guys a great rest of the day.